There's always two sides to every story, and today I bring you guys that second side of a story we broke late last week around a Valorant pro and a team known as EZ5, the player known as Dcop, who was actually disqualified from an event from Pax known as the Almost Pro $10,000 event. 16 teams appearing, but he, of most notably, headlines including ours, said he was not allowed and disqualified because he was Mexican. That being he resided in Mexico while his teammates played from the United States or from Canada in an event that supposedly by the rulebook you had to be from one of those two locations, the United States or Canada. He was playing from Mexico, a location not allowed by the rulebook, and the decision to be made was made 1 week into the event during upper finals. EZ5, that's Dcop's team, playing against Virtuoso, where he was then told that he had to be disqualified. This causing a large portion of the community to erupt about the decision, because at first it was seeming that, okay, you invited this team directly, you allowed them to compete for an entire week, and then you disqualified them, of which eventually both EZ5 and the team they were set to play against, Virtuoso, backed out of the event entirely. We now have an updated statement from Pax, which I wish they would have put out there in the first place, because it clarifies a lot of very important information. As they stated, all registered entrants in the Almost Pro Valorant 10K North American Open are required to be residents of the United States or Canada, and all competitors signed contracts agreeing to this before the tournament began. EZ5 was invited to participate by a third-party partner, not Pax Arena itself. Prior to the Thursday evening match between EZ5 and Virtuoso, Pax Arena was made aware of the issues affecting both teams for the upcoming match by a direct complaint from a team manager, this involving ping issues. These ping issues would have had a substantial effect on the match and affected competitive balance, according to the report we received. After investigation, Pax Arena learned that the player had reported was not a resident of the United States or Canada, which contradicted what they stated through the legal documents they submitted. Upon learning of this misrepresentation, Pax Arena staff only disqualified the player and offered to let EZ5 swap in the registered sub-player and continue in the tournament as scheduled. Subsequently, both EZ5 and Virtuoso made the choice to forfeit. While Pax Arena regrets that EZ5 and Virtuoso have voluntarily forfeited the tournament, the obligation on Pax Arena is and remains to administer the tournament and enforce its rules that were supplied upon entering the tournament in an unbiased manner. Which means, although I understand some people's frustrations that a third party invited a team who had a player that was not residing in the legal countries to compete, it's also on the player who should have read the entire contract they submitted, which I imagine, as Pax said which locations you had to be a resident of to compete in the first place. Yes, there is some fault on both sides here, but if you are an individual player or even the team of EZ5, you have to read through the entire rulebook to know where you can actually compete from. And in this notion, I actually feel really bad for Pax. And again, there's some fault on both sides. You allowed them to compete for an entire week without even knowing. And yes, it's because Virtuoso brought up a ping issue, the ping difference, where it was clearly obvious to them that someone might not be in the desired locations. So there is semi-fault on Pax, but especially as a player in a team when you're going through these contracts, there's certainly also fault there. And it seemed like they were trying to place all the blame on Pax as the party at fault here, when it's really both sides. But it also is Dcop and EZ5 here, which it just sucks all around. So hopefully this will be a learning lesson, both as a tournament organizer to make sure you look into those players and where they're from, and again, hopefully they tell you the truth and read through the whole rule book. It also falls on the team and players to make sure you're reading through all the rule books, which those TOs, they do have to follow through with. So I do think this paints a completely different picture than the first side of the story, and I'll let you guys decide where you fall on this one. Best of luck to both sides going forward. It does suck for Pax, by the way, because both upper finals teams, both presumably the better teams in the event, backed out, which means both the lower bracket teams, they just threw them into the grand finals instead. What do y'all think about this one? A follow-up from last week's story. Go check out the full Friday story if you want to get the full pre-context, and then bounce back here to finish off this one. Just like you should be finishing off a cup of water and coffee right freaking now, okay? Till next time, take care of yourself. I'll see you back here sometime soon.